Imagine a fleeting night of enchantment, a masked ball where a CEO's heart collided with a mysterious woman who vanished at midnight, leaving only a whispered promise and a hidden mark. 6 years later, a chance glimpse of a young girl bearing that same mark shatters his world. Could she be his daughter? Unravel this tale of love, secrets, and destiny, and if you're captivated, subscribe for more stories that grip your soul and twist your heart. 6 years ago, Alexander Kane, the billionaire CEO of Kane Enterprises, attended a masquerade ball in New York City, a rare escape from his world of boardrooms and bottom lines. The night was alive with swirling gowns and hidden identities, but one woman, cloaked in a silver gown, captured his attention. She called herself Cinderella, a playful nod to the fairy tale, her face half hidden by a delicate mask. Her laughter was like music, her touch electric, and their connection instant. They danced, they talked, and under the spell of the night, they shared a passionate moment in a secluded alcove of the grand venue. As the clock struck midnight, she slipped away, leaving only a whispered promise, "You'll carry my mark, and I'll carry yours." Alexander felt a strange warmth on his wrist, where a faint, crescent-shaped scar appeared, unexplainable but undeniable. He searched for her in the weeks that followed, hiring private investigators, scouring guest lists, but she was a ghost. Life moved on, and Alexander buried the memory of that night, chalking it up to a fleeting fantasy. Now, 6 years later, at 35, Alexander stood at the helm of his empire, a man who commanded respect but felt an unshakable emptiness. On a crisp autumn morning, while visiting a community center his company funded in Brooklyn, he saw her, a girl, no older than 5, with jet black hair and piercing blue eyes that mirrored his own. She was playing in the courtyard, her laughter echoing like a memory. As she reached for a toy, her sleeve slipped, revealing a crescent-shaped mark on her wrist, identical to his own. His heart stopped. Could this be his child? His mind raced back to that night, to the woman who vanished. He approached the girl's caretaker, a kind but guarded woman named Mrs. Ellis, who introduced the child as Lily. Alexander's questions were met with vague answers. Lily's mother, a single parent, had passed away 2 years ago, and Mrs. Ellis was her legal guardian. The details were murky, and Alexander's instincts screamed that there was more to the story. He began visiting the community center regularly, drawn to Lily, who seemed to sense a connection, her small hand brushing his as she showed him her drawings. Each visit deepened his suspicion, but also his affection. Lily was bright, curious, and carried an uncanny resemblance to him, from her sharp jawline to the way her brow furrowed in thought. Yet, doubts gnawed at him. Was he projecting? Could the mark be a coincidence? He hired a discreet investigator to dig into Lily's past, but the trail led to dead ends. Her mother, listed only as Clara on legal documents, had no known family, no clear history. Alexander's obsession grew, pulling him into a web of questions he couldn't answer. One evening, while helping Lily with a puzzle, she looked up at him and said, "My mommy said my daddy was a prince who'd find me one day." The words hit like a thunderbolt. Alexander's mind flashed to the masquerade, to Cinderella's voice, her cryptic promise about a mark. He began to piece together a theory. What if Clara was his Cinderella? What if she'd left to protect their child, knowing his high-profile life could expose them to danger? His company had enemies, rival corporations, disgruntled former partners, and Alexander had always guarded his personal life fiercely. Had Clara known something he didn't? The plot thickened when he discovered a hidden file in his company's archives, a donation record from 6 years ago, signed by a Clara Monroe, for the same community center. The signature was elegant, familiar, like the handwriting on a note he'd found tucked in his jacket after the ball, one he'd kept but never deciphered. His heart pounded as he cross-referenced the name. Clara Monroe had worked briefly as a freelance event planner, organizing the very masquerade where they'd met. The pieces were falling into place, but a twist awaited. One night, while digging through Clara's sparse digital footprint, Alexander found an old photo from a charity event. A woman in a silver gown, unmasked, her face strikingly similar to Lily's. But the photo was timestamped a year after the ball, and Clara was visibly pregnant. The math didn't add up. If Lily was 5, and Clara was pregnant a year after their encounter, could Lily be his? Confusion turned to dread as another possibility emerged. What if Clara had been involved with someone else? Alexander's world tilted, but he couldn't let go. He requested a DNA test, arranging it discreetly through Mrs. Ellis, who agreed only after seeing his genuine care for Lily. The wait was agonizing, each day a battle between hope and fear. Meanwhile, he grew closer to Lily, teaching her chess, marveling at her quick mind, and feeling a fatherly bond he'd never known. But the story wasn't done twisting. The DNA results came back negative. Lily wasn't his biological daughter. Devastated, Alexander retreated, questioning everything. Yet, the mark on Lily's wrist haunted him. How could it match his own? Days later, Mrs. Ellis called him, her voice trembling. She revealed a letter Clara had left, to be opened only if someone came looking for Lily. The letter was addressed to "My Prince." In it, Clara confessed. She was Cinderella, and their night together had been her escape from a dangerous past. She'd been in hiding, fleeing a powerful ex who'd threatened her life. The mark wasn't a scar, it was a symbol, a tattoo she'd given them both during their night together, a vow of connection. Lily wasn't Alexander's by blood, but Clara had raised her to believe her prince would find her, entrusting Alexander with her care. The ex, a shadowy figure tied to corporate espionage, had been behind Clara's death, a hit disguised as an accident. Alexander's company had unknowingly crossed paths with this man's network, explaining Clara's secrecy. The revelation shattered Alexander but gave him purpose. He vowed to protect Lily, adopting her legally and uncovering the truth about Clara's death. As he stood with Lily at Clara's grave, the crescent mark on their wrists a silent bond, Alexander realized that family wasn't just blood, it was a promise kept, a mark carried, a love that endured beyond a single night. The mystery of Cinderella was solved, but the story of Alexander and Lily was just beginning, a tale of redemption, courage, and a father's heart forged not by biology, but by destiny.